That's been the thing I've been
Thank
thinking
you.
about.
We
I
all
can
have-
do more
I
of
kind
that.
of wanted to
We all
talk
have
about
grids.
that, about the Washington Post Bloomberg article.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of something written by AI,
That was very odd. Took a very weird track on the whole thing.
it's so weird.
So what is this article? I saw you posting it yesterday, but I didn't have time to look into it.
So it's kind of chronicling all of the horrible things that Mike Bloomberg has done to his colleagues and inferiors throughout his career as a professional bastard.
He's a real piece of shit. He's a real piece of
He
shit.
is. There are literally things he does in there where I'm like, Donald Trump would never say that.
Oh, no.
No.
It's
yeah.
too mean.
Yeah, I mean, like that is the,
And Donald Trump likes to think of himself still as a benevolent person, despite being like a cruel, petty bully. He's not like sadistically aggro
Not
the
what
way
Bloomberg is,
Bloomberg is.
right. I mean, that calls into question. Like, this is the weirdest thing about it. I think generally the reason a Bloomberg campaign would be uniquely doomed. The whole point of a Bloomberg campaign is the idea that literally everyone in America consumes as much media as you and is as obsessed with Donald Trump and Lev Parnas.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
can't believe Lev Parnas revealed the truth about
Peter
I'm
Strzok.
still blown away.
about fucking Barnack Greyjoy and testified against Hunt's Grimback and revealed through his testimony that Margot Guzmazian was paid off.
Oh, no.
But it's the idea that they have that everyone thinks like them and is obsessed. But I think we're at this point now in American history where the gulf between because there's always been media hyper consumers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, probably
Hobbyists.
more in the last 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
The gulf in communication
They've
between them
separated
and normal
completely.
people is completely, it's insurmountable. And the only way Bloomberg could like actually win a general election is if everyone was like these people.
Yes, exactly.
And it's like at some point you kind of go, is Trump like the better person here?
Oh, he's
I don't
absolutely
know.
a better person.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'm sorry. If there
Yes,
was some
he
sort of
is.
soul test you could take, like a blood test of the soul, to determine your evil level as like your soul cancer, Bloomberg is a worse person than Donald Trump.
I would
Yeah.
say so.
and it's not close
Yes. No,
either.
he is a worse person.
I
He's
mean,
a more
like-
vicious. He's a more aggressively vicious
Yes.
person.
Like Donald Trump is obviously like an evil, rotten person.
Awful.
But
One of
his-
the worst
One of
we
the
have.
worst people
Yeah.
ever created.
But also
his
he's a little
evil
bit of a
rottenness
coward.
Is like an elementary schooler's,
Yeah.
like a
yes,
schoolyard bully.
because he's a
Because
coward.
I've said this before
Yes.
too. He is not bellicose. He is antagonistic.
because he's a coward.
And
Exactly.
that's the thing where
That's
I
a
said,
fundamental
like,
thing.
the anecdote that, might be apocryphal, but someone tells about, like, when he was a kid and, like, baseballs would end up in his yard, he would yell from the window that if you go into my yard, I'll call the police
Yeah,
on you.
yeah.
Whereas Bloomberg would come out with a baseball bat
Yes.
and beat the shit out of you. You know what? Bloomberg would leave his yard to find you
Yes.
to beat the shit out of you.
Or he would get his friends in blue to do it for him.
Yeah, his
And
private
watch,
army.
and
yeah.
watch. Yeah. But yeah, no, he's absolutely. He's not. That's the difference. Is that he is not a coward, and the cowardliness of Trump is something that makes him less awful sometimes.
You've noticed how like at Trump's rallies, he seems afraid of his own supporters sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, boy, you people sure love yelling, huh?
Oh, no.
But it's like Bloomberg is looking out in the crowd and salivating at the idea of just performing medical experiments on these paid dummies.
He's just
got to
he's
be
pricing
there.
their organs. Like,
Yeah.
oh, we got $500 million worth of spleens in here.
And it's like if Trump's campaign people are like pretty competent, and it's like, wouldn't you're the campaign you just run be like President cool imbecile versus the moribund Jew
Yeah.
versus just like a guy who's just like one of the most charmless. Talk about zero like positive qualities.
No,
Talk
no,
about
zero
Trump
positive.
having zero
Trump
positive
is
quality.
funny.
Yes,
That's
he's
the-
way
his-
funnier than
yeah.
Bloomberg.
Bloomberg's never said anything funny. Like every Bloomberg clip where he tells like like the memes that he's trying to make people create.
Awful.
Like the subtext is like, the joke is that I'm aware that I'm not cool.
Yeah.
It just completely it fills you with this existential dread that Trump does not.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I'm just thinking about like this, just the prominent examples we know, and just thinking about like Donald Trump coercing through money, like porn star to what come to his hotel suite and watch Shark Week with him.
Yes.
Versus Bloomberg being openly accused it by, I believe, verified of
No,
telling
Bloomberg has probably fed someone to a shark.
telling a subordinate, "Kill your baby, have an abortion,
Kill it.
kill it."
Yeah.
First
Kill
word.
it.
One
No,
is
but
so like they're both like awful and sexist, but like that is just
But
so
this
much more
article
malicious.
is insane.
Oh yeah. So what is this article?
Like, so it's a collection of complaints, but then there's also like they leaked this, I guess, like a ribald present that one of Bloomberg's they made a quote book of him and like
Oh,
distributed around his.
The wit and wisdom of Michael Bloomberg.
It's really weird. It's
Neither
really
witty
weird.
nor wise.
Like the actual like first of all the corporate culture that does stuff like this that's so
Sickos.
self-referential. It's like they're all at like summer camp
Yeah.
together or
Let's
something.
let's literally make a zine of our boss's sexual harassment.
Yeah. So, but like, if you look at some of these, but the way this guy wrote it, it's almost. This is a thing that I'm almost conspiratorial about, where it's just like, did they do this to like downplay how
Yeah.
awful he is?
Yeah, like we have to write an article about the sex stuff. Let's run it through Google Translate 14 times.
That's what I said. I said it sounds like it was originally written in Japanese and they ran
Yeah.
it through Babelfish.
yeah.
But like here's like complaint number 44. Upon information and belief in or about July 1993, Bloomberg heard that a female company salesperson had just had a baby, was having difficulty finding a nanny. He yelled loudly at her in the presence of a large group of employees. I think it's a fucking baby.
Yeah, it's a fucking baby.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't know. Are you a child? Print the curse.
Let's
Print the
curse
swear.
words. Print the swears.
Are you a
Swears that
fucking
the man who wants
child?
to be president said.
Thank you.
Yes. All it does is eat and shit. It doesn't know the difference between you and anyone else. All you need is some black,
Some
you know,
black.
some black, who doesn't even have to speak English to rescue it from a burning building. The salesperson cried at hearing her employer say such things to her in such a public manner.
Such things.
So, like, this guy that wrote this, it's just, he has this really flat affect and, like, this weird puritanical kind of, I don't understand it. The other thing is, like, he just keeps saying, like, about the crude things that he'll say about, like, women. It says, Bloomberg also allegedly said about Garrison that he would have sex with her, quote, in a minute, but that he regretted that she didn't have legs and an A dash like a certain actress. He won't say who the actress is.
What the fuck?
Yes.
That's not a libel thing. They were just referenced.
You could
by a third
that's
party.
not libelous.
I'm sorry. I need to
Also,
know.
I want to know.
I need to know
What
who
if
his-
what
who
if
his-
it's like Anne Ramsey or Kathy Bates?
Throw Mama from the train. Oh my God.
Lucille Ball.
Vava
Oh, there
Voom,
was
Miss
a lady.
Mama Fratelli from the Goonies.
It's just insane. I don't even know. He keeps saying, okay, the Post obtained a copy of the booklet. Bloomberg is quoted as desiring oral sex from a well-known actress.
God damn it.
First of all, desiring oral sex is like, again, that's like a Google Translate
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
I
yeah.
desire oral sex from you. That's
Yeah.
someone trying to get laid reading from a phrase book.
Yeah. Also,
Like the Hungarian phrase.
you
book
could
in Monty
desire
Python.
you could desire oral sex with someone without anyone knowing.
Yes.
It's all
Yeah.
in your head.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how you would even say something out loud that would be translated into that legalese that
Yeah,
was like
like
he was
desiring.
making a statement desiring.
Yeah.
Desiring of, yeah. And then, like, I just say the actress. I
wanna
don't know
the
why
actress,
are you
man.
saying the
I
actress?
need to know who it
One of the
is.
things, if women wanted to be appreciated for their brains, they go to the library instead of Bloomingdale's, which is just like, why not just say Gimbals? How old are you?
I hate-
How fucking old are you?
Bloomberg. The worst thing about like Bloomberg not being funny is that he thinks he is.
Oh, he thinks he's
Oh,
very
yeah.
He thinks he's fucking
Awful.
hilarious.
Yeah, these are all like weird, like attempts at jokes. It's very weird when you, like, you know, my friend who like she teaches at, and she went from going to teaching at Philadelphia private schools to teaching at like private schools in New York. She taught at Barron Trump's school, and I'm like, so what was it like? What are the kids like? And she's like, I'll be honest, I didn't know that Jews could be stupid. Leave her name, but like, and it's like with Bloomberg, you're like, I thought you people were supposed to be funny. Like,
yeah, it's because he has the act of like being funny is like you have to have some level of human understanding of
Yeah.
humanity, and Bloomberg has none.
No.
He has absolutely none. Like he's one of the few guys that like was in the Epstein Black Book and hung out with Ghislaine and did all this stuff. However, you may interpret that purely for networking.
Yep.
reasons.
Yeah.
He would commit.
he's like an
he would
unsensual person.
Yeah.
he would become a capo at Auschwitz just to put it on his resume.
Wait, 23. Upon information and belief, Bloomberg was unhappy with the outcome of a business meeting. He said to a newly hired female company salesperson, if the clients told you to lay down and strip naked so they could blank you, would you do that too? He repeated similar word at subsects of frequent intervals throughout the period of the plaintiff's employment. So, okay, that's like a horrible, shitty, like, again, Trump wouldn't do that.
No, he's like, get it out of a Hooters.
Yeah. So, but then the way this guy frames it, other Democratic candidates have dealt with related issues. Senator Bernie Sanders last year apologized to female staff members of his 2016 campaign who said they were sexually harassed by coworkers, saying it was unacceptable behavior. How is that a similar issue?
What the
How is that a similar
Some guys
issue?
that Bernie had no contact with at a field
What's
office.
that got to do with Bernie? They also former Vice President Joe Biden, facing allegations that he did touch or kiss women without consent, said last year that his expressions of affection were misconstrued and that he would pay attention to the concerns.
How is that
even
one-
that? Isn't even close to like. He's not like kill it. Like that is completely. And the Bernie shit is just like.
How is that one
that is
fucking
insane.
Of
Who
course
wrote
that one's
this?
first. Of course that one's first. Of course. I wish journalists were under the conditions in this country that they fucking act like they are. Really. No one has it fucking coming like them.
This is deranged. And here's the thing that makes me conspiratorial about it. In this kind of post Me Too era, this should be red fucking meat.
Yeah.
And yet he softballs it.
Yeah. And
the
it has
whole
to
time.
say, hey, there's equivalent cases.
Just
even though
at the very least, just to be a piece of shit, self-serving journalist, which just to like boost his career, you'd think he would seize on the red meat here.
awful.
And he leaves it.
Yeah, comparing it to Joe Biden too is awful because I'm sorry, but Joe Biden's sexual harassment stuff is fucking wholesome compared to Bloomberg.
Absolutely.
Compared to Bloomberg,
It 100% is. It's like, well, he got a little close. He smelled my hair. He
touched my shoulders.
He said I reminded him of Sarah Bernhardt, First Lady of the American
You know what
Theater.
it literally is that intent does matter. And Joe Biden is intending to be like an affectionate old grandfatherly type. And fucking Bloomberg is trying to intimidate and harass. He wants you to feel scared of him. He wants you to feel
Yes.
humiliated.
And
he wants
it's
you to
just-
feel bad about yourself.
And that's why these women are all his subordinates.
Yes.
Joe Biden has never been. I'm sorry, I'm not aware of any accusations against Joe Biden by any female subordinate.
Mm-hmm.
It's always people he meets in a bar or somebody he meets on stage.
There are
and he
people like
grabs an ass.
associated with different campaigns.
Right,
Yeah.
but I don't think
Yeah.
there's anyone directly that has been like he used his position above me.
Yeah.
To
There are
to
no secretaries
harass
or
me.
whatever,
Whereas
yeah.
Bloomberg exclusively harasses because he has power over them
He's a
and he gets
psycho.
off on it.
That's the only thing that gets him hard is
Yes.
the idea of someone else being afraid of him.
yes.
Yeah.
It's pure
He's
just
an
power trip.
actual sadist.
He's
Yes.
disgusting.
and I'm
100
sorry,
fucking
like
percent.
that is worse.
Yeah, and just to go back into let's dip back into conspiracy stuff. It is hard, it's like where there's smoke, there's fire thing. It is hard to read something like that in that overly defensive legalese of something that should be for the Democratic constituency, as Amber said, huge red flag, and not imagine that it's because Bloomberg has just sacks of money.
The amount of money he is dropping
all
on this
over,
campaign, people do not, I don't think people still have grasped the unprecedented nature of this. No one in American history has put this much money of their own into a political campaign at this
This
stage.
quickly, yes.
Ever.
Yeah.
Already. He's blown through he's destroyed the Martians. Even
he's-
Tom Steyer at this point
and he's
is a
literally-
piker compared to him. And we have no idea what kind of distorting force that's going to have. We already know that Cap had a fucking chapter in a book they put out in 2015 about police abuse in cities, about Black Lives Matter. They had a chapter about stop and frisk. And then after a big donation from Bloomberg, they cut it
killed
out
it.
of the reprint. We know they did that. We know that Bloomberg has his own goddamn channel with his name
He's
on it.
literally a media mogul, one of the biggest in the industry.
And the amount
if
of
you're-
money that he is putting in on ads on all stations, local and national. They're buying boats for everybody who works in media everywhere in this country.
He's been also for years and years and years paying off local politicians.
Well, that's why every mayor in America, he has a mayor's institute. It's like a school of the American mayors where he gives money to mayors. And that's why every mayor, big city mayor, is fucking endorsing Bloomberg. They've got legislators across the country because they're all literally, he pays them off.
And
it's like a cartoon.
So far-
it's like some Thomas Nast.
Every
a big
single-
bag with a dollar sign on it.
Every single major endorsement I've seen so far of Bloomberg has a $1 to $2 million check with Bloomberg's
Astounding,
name
yes.
on it within the last 18 months.
Here's your monthly kickback. You just couldn't have picked a worse time.
He's like the most unlikable person
that's-
in the world.
But what's so amazing about this is like,
if it was him versus Pete, I would max out to Pete.
well, the thing
Yeah,
is that when it comes to if Bloomberg was somehow
I
to
do
get the
have some
nomination-
lines, yeah.
If Bloomberg was somehow to get the nomination, which I'm not that worried about yet, although, like I said, this is an unprecedented infusion of money into the campaign.
It's disgusting.
We
is what
and we don't
think
know.
of it,
The thing is, we can't predict because it's never happened before. But I still don't. It's too hard for him specifically to do it. But I'll tell you right now, if he became the nominee, people say, "Would you vote for Bloomberg?" Obviously not. Would you help Bloomberg? Obviously not. But beyond that, a Bloomberg win is worse for America objectively and the world than a Trump second term.
Yes.
Because there's never going to be a non-billionaire president after that.
No, yeah,
it's over.
impossible.
It's
It's
literally they just bought it and it's done.
Yeah.
Well, and also, like, Trump is not a fascist. Bloomberg could be.
And way more effective and efficient
Yeah.
at whatever he wanted to do.
Yes.
Because there's
100%.
The tanks would just be like, would be police cruisers.
They would be Ubers.
because Bloomberg or Trump ran effectively as like a culture war candidate.
Yeah.
And he was basically doing like Fox News culture war stuff. The Bloomberg presidency is the de facto just outright merging of the political class or the political functioning of our country with the billionaire class.
Yes.
They become a
They
single.
become fused. They've always obviously been very deeply intertwined, but this is the final fusion dance between the two. The great one Mecca Super Saiyan.
I just don't
accelerationism.
I can't help but be like, this is the conspiratorial thing for me because, like, being somewhat, 1 foot in and 1 foot out of this journalism world, like the stuff you see, and I'm like, you're just going to leave that there?
Yeah.
That's the most unjournalisty thing I've ever heard of. Whether you're a good journalist, which means you have a responsibility to be just like clear and stoic and kind of have a flat affect about it and not equivocate, or you're a bad journalist and you're just trying to like fucking, blow up your own career. Either way, it's insane to leave that situation where you kind of have like an ethical imperative to treat this stuff seriously.
Gee, it would be great if there was some kind of a site that gawked at
that
rich
gawked at
people
things,
to criticize
seriously, if it's Bloomberg versus Trump, I mean, that's still a disaster. Honestly, at this point, it's just like a question of time. It's a question of acceleration.
It's Alien versus Predator.
Exactly.
but-
And maybe we live a
thing
little
is-
longer hanging out with the Predator. But
Yeah.
but Trump is definitely the Predator. Bloomberg is the xenomorph.
Yeah.
There's no question. So I'm sorry. I would vote for Trump. Over
America after Bloomberg, I can't even imagine what just day-to-day lives look like. But the political environment would be you just roving bands of marauders go from billionaire estate to billionaire estate, trying to convince their eldest son to join their like cultural liberal or culture conservative warrior affectation.
Yeah.
And just convincing them to put their hat in for the race for next king.
Yep. No.
What
it's
a
like,
nightmare. What a
it's like the
fucking nightmare. Better hope you can get, if you're religious, you can get to one of the pizza company Catholics. if you're a lib, you can get to one of those fucking tech CEO freaks.
who has like a foundation.
Zuckerberg. A Zuckerberg presidency will
comes
come
immediately after.
That's the next president will be Zuckerberg. No. But the thing that's exhilarating about this is because we've talked on the show about how like the Trump thing. One thing about it is that it will never be the same after that. Like a lot of people, a lot of Democrats are voting based on who can bring it back. Like that was the Biden dream. Who can just snap their fingers and make it 2008 again or something. And it's just, that's not going to happen, man. Things are different now. And the proof of that is that, first of all, that the shock of Trump winning discredited the Democrats enough that Bernie has a chance, and that the Democratic Party is so undermined and destroyed from within by its own rot that it can't mount a significant enough challenge, so that the gleaming Terminator face of capital in the form of Michael Bloomberg has to step directly in and say, yes, this literally is about billionaires trying to maintain control of this country. That is literally what is happening. There is no denying it. It is no longer hidden by any artifice or superstructure. That's the reality. Now we're confronting it. We have to deal with it.
We don't even have to do like super PACs this time. And where's the money coming from? It's all right.
Yeah.
out in the
plausible
open.
deniability bullshit.
That thing that you're just saying is like what I think most people don't get, and especially like the MSNBC poison people that we were talking about earlier, is that you're right. There is the only way out is through.
Exactly.
There's no reset. We have to confront the issue here, which is this fabulous
and we are confronting it, and it's so much easier now because so much is becoming clear. Look at the way that, I mean, maybe it won't go as far as we would want it to, but look at the way that liberal identity politics, like autoimmunity, has revealed itself to be fraudulent. Mm-hmm. How many people who spent 2016 saying Bernie wasn't intersectional enough, Bernie didn't understand black and brown bodies enough, and have been concerned trolling him over being not attuned enough on race for his entire time in the public era. We're talking about, he said nice things about George Wallace in the 70s, as little as a month ago. And now, on a dime, they're telling you that it's actually racist not to vote for Stop and Frisk Bloomberg, a guy who basically is on record saying that blacks are inferior and need to be controlled and contained. That's his job. I mean, how you don't have to say anything at a certain point, and that is so much. It's exhilarating to be able to fight on these contours and with this reality and not have to deal. I mean, it just, at this point, it feels like bullets bouncing off Superman.
Well,